Welcome to another edition of Life in the Minors, a production of WFUV Sports. I'm Lou Orlando. The path to the big leagues is a long, often unpredictable process, and few players know that better than Mets pitching prospect Mike Vasil. Vassell is the number 21 prospect in the Mets organization according to MLB.com. He was drafted in the summer of 2021 and is currently in the midst of his first full season in the minor leagues. He finished high school as one of the top pitching prospects in the United States and was a projected first-round pick. Unfortunately, he suffered an arm injury at the tail end of his senior year and withdrew himself from the MLB draft, fulfilling his commitment to the University of Virginia. Vassell struggled in his freshman year, pitching to a 5.93 ERA. He had been a dominant four-seam fastball pitcher throughout high school, but his University of Virginia coaches suggested he ditch the four-seamer in favor of a two-seamer with more sinking action. This switch came with a velocity drop and transformed Vassell from a pitcher who generated swings and misses into a pitcher who played to contact. Vassell rebounded well in his sophomore season, recording a 2.45 ERA in 22 innings pitched before the season was put to a halt due to COVID. He was unable to carry over that success into his final year at UVA, as inconsistency plagued him throughout his junior year. He showed flashes of brilliance, going at least 6 innings pitched with 3 runs or less in half of his starts, but still finished the year with a 4.40 ERA. Vassell was eligible for the 2021 MLB draft after his junior year, and while no longer considered one of the best prospects in America, there was still sizable interest in his draft stock. To the surprise of many draft experts, Vassell fell as late as the 8th round, where he was snatched up by the Mets with a 232nd pick. The Mets immediately told him to ditch the two-seamer and revert back to the four-seam fastball that had made him so dominant in high school. Along with some adjustments to his pitching mechanics, Vassell has regained velocity on his fastball. While Vassell's fastball hovered around 91-92 miles per hour in college, he now consistently sits in the mid-90s and is topped out at 98.
Yeah, I think my fastball for me is definitely one of those things where the Mets have done a tremendous job with helping me out with it and basically creating the best form of it that we can, and I think it's still something that in process that we're working throughout bullpens and throwing program every day, that to just get it the most consistent as possible. And like you asked, I think that's the next step, is to make it very consistent and have some basically play the way I want to within the zone every time, compared to maybe 6 or 7 or 8 out of 10 times right now. And I think that's what the Mets and I are eyeing for that pitch specifically.
The adjustments have paid dividends as Vassell continues to rise up the ranks in the minors. He got his first taste of minor league action in September of 2021, making 3 appearances to the tune of 7 innings pitched, 1 run, 3 hits, and 10 Ks. He began this season at St. Lucie, making 8 starts while pitching to a 1.8 ERA. His sustained success was enough for him to get the call up to the Brooklyn Cyclones, the Mets' High A affiliate, on May 23rd. Vassell has continued to pitch well in his first 3 starts with the Cyclones. He has enjoyed success in every level of the minor leagues he's played in, showing an impressive ability to adapt as the competition gets tougher. One of the biggest changes since being drafted by the Mets has been the freedom he feels with pitch calling. While his UVA coaches called the game from the dugout, Cyclones manager Luis Rivera allows his pitchers and catchers to call their own game.
Yeah, well, we don't control the pitching; it's the catcher and him. We formulate the plan for every pitch for our opponent. So we talk before the game, and we have a plan for every individual from the other team. And he needs to use his best tools, fastball and slider, and we go with the plan, and we try to do the plan to execute every plan we have with each players from the other team.
Vassell expressed frustration about the pitch calling coming from the dugout in college in an SMY interview, and relishes the ability to call his own game here with the Cyclones.
To me, when I go to bed at night as a pitcher, and let's say I get beat during the game or not have success, I think really for me it's just a thing where I want to know at the end of the day that I'm the one kind of calling my own game. And I think you kind of hear about that with a lot of pitchers. If you talk to them, they just really like being able to call their own game, because it's also a teaching lesson at the same time. You learn what your stuff does and how it plays, and it's not necessarily scripted, if you will. It's more of a free-flowing thing where you can do whatever you want. If I could want to throw 8 sliders in a row, I could. Not that it would work, but just be able to have the freedom to do so.
This freedom has allowed him to develop his off-speed pitches, something he felt was limited in college. In his most recent start against the Aberdeen Ironbirds, Vassell threw his slider often, particularly early in counts.
His secondary pitches, he throws it for strike. It's good. It's good to be unpredictable. So ahead in the count, throwing it behind in the count, also throwing that off speed that coming plays is working for him, and also throwing his 95, 96 fastball. Everybody knows that he throws, hard, so he needs to mix his pitches, and yesterday he did, and he had a really good day.
There's no doubt Vassell has gained confidence in his off-speed pitches since joining the Mets, and he's made developing them a priority as he tries to become a more complete pitcher.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence within it. I think it all starts with, really being confident within it in bullpens. And I think every day when you're throwing a baseball, you need to be able to make sure that you're working on those pitches and making sure they're consistent and they move consistently. And I think a lot of that comes with visualizing what you want from the pitch and the success you want to have. And I think the Mets have helped me tremendously with that and being confident with throwing any pitch in any count. And obviously, if you can do that at a really consistent rate with good stuff, you're a big leaguer, and that's the ultimate goal. And so I think that for me is really what I'm trying to become and be able to do. So
his strikeout numbers have also taken a noticeable leap since coming to Brooklyn. After recording more than 6 strikeouts just once in St. Lucie, Vassell struck out 7 or more in his first 3 starts with the Cyclones. He's currently averaging 13.2 strikeouts per 9 compared to 9.5 back in St. Lucie. Vassell's success has given rise to his stock in the organization. According to an SNY article, the Mets believe Vassell could be a middle-of-the-rotation starter in the big leagues.
He has the talent, and I think he has the upside to become a big leaguer, but it's too early to be saying that.
His continued success in the minors only points to his upside. It may be too early to make any big league predictions, but Vassell is certainly impressing as he looks to complete his first full season in the minors. Obviously, there's still a long way to go, but Mike Vasil, the number 21 prospect in the Mets organization, is showing promise as he tries to make his way to the big leagues. For WFUV Sports, I'm Lou Orlando with another edition of Life in the Minors.